Hello and welcome back to the podcast. So, we're talking about today about closing for the business. Now, I don't usually do a lot of sales training, as in project it out, because I'm a huge fan of people sort of being themselves and sounding like themselves. What I don't want in the world is 1,000 Chris clones. One Chris Webb is plenty for the world. Thank you very much. We don't need anything more than that. But we're going to talk about closing today. I'm going to give you a couple of closing models which I've used over the years, which have worked out brilliantly for myself and worked really well, really well. I wouldn't say every time, but it's certainly if there is any issues with a property coming on the market with yourself, for example, or any kind of negotiation situation, it brings the problems to the table very quickly. At least then you've got a chance of solving them. And for me, that's really what closing is all about. Yes, one part of it is getting the business signed up and sort of shaking hands in it and saying, great, let's get it on the market then. But the other part of it is actually raising any issues which stop that from happening to the surface. So let's say, for example, you go on a market appraisal and your fee is 3 times the price of everybody else. And that is a big deal to the homeowner. Now, is that still a big deal as soon as you walk out the front door if you don't close for the business? Absolutely. At least if you're on the market appraisal and you say, look, do you want to go on the market with myself? And they say, no, Chris, I don't, because you're 3 times more expensive than everybody else. At least you're like, right, okay, at least I know what the problem is and I know potentially how I can solve it if I even want to do that sort of thing. But at least you've got a chance of solving the issue. Rather than just saying, thanks for having me around, see you soon, I'll call you on Monday, at least you've got a chance to overcome that issue. So if nothing else, it brings the problems to the table. Now, I was having a chat with a client a few days ago, and they said to me, Chris, do you miss estate agency at all? And honest answer is some parts yes, some parts no. Do I miss putting properties on the market and selling properties? Not really. I've kind of been there, done that, got the t-shirt. The dopamine has well and truly worn off on that side of things. It wouldn't really bring that much joy to my life. But the bit I do miss is sort of the haggle, the negotiation, the doing the deal, all that sort of stuff. I really miss that. So whenever I get a chance to do any haggling negotiation, whether that's buying cars or being away, buying a rug on holiday or whatever else it might be, I love it. That's my favorite part. Because I get to do stuff like closing for the business, I don't normally get to do that much in my own job. So I don't often teach much sort of salesy stuff with regard to kind of scripts and what to say, because what I don't want to do is to end up with lots of Chris Webb clones out there. There's one Chris Webb is enough without everyone else sounding like me. So I'll put a big caveat on today is that I'm going to give you some structures that work really well for closing for business. Put your own spin on them. I do not want you to say verbatim what I would say, because that's what I would say is not what you should say. And there's only one of you in the world. There's only one of me in the world. You're the best at being you and I'm the best at being me. So don't try and kind of copy this verbatim, but take the kind of the inspiration from it and sort of run with it as much as you possibly can do. So let's get into technique number one. And to answer this, to start off with, we need to understand what everyone's favorite word is. And especially in the UK, everyone's favorite word is no. It's the safest word in the English language. If someone came to you and said, do you want to buy this car off me for 100 quid? It's a brand new Porsche. You're like, no, sounds a bit too good to be true. I think it's probably stolen. Do you want this bag of cats? No, I don't. Thank you very much. Do you want half of my sandwich that I threw on the floor a while ago? No, I don't. Thank you very much. So no is like, I'm fine. I'll stick. I'm good. Thank you very much. So that is automatically people's safe place. If someone came to me and said, do you want this? And I didn't know what they're talking about, my default answer would be like, no, I'm fine. Thank you very much. So we can use this to our advantage, because if we know that people's favorite word is no, well, let's ask them a question where they get to say no. But it's actually a good result for ourselves. So bear with me. This will all make sense in a second. So instead of saying someone, for example, do you want to change estate agent? And they go, not really. Like, it sounds like a lot of work. Thank you very much. I've done my floor plan and my pictures and my AML already. Thank you very much. I don't really fancy doing that all over again. That is not the right way of phrasing the question. Or if I went to that person and said, excuse me, quick question for you. Would you be against changing estate agent if it meant you can get to your next property sooner? They'd be like, well, no, I wouldn't be against changing my estate agent if it meant I got to my next property sooner. So the answer we're looking for there is no. So a really good way of phrasing it would you be against? Or that is a direct way of saying to somebody, would you be against doing this? And most people are going to say, no, I wouldn't be against it. Would you see a problem with us doing this? No. Would it be a problem with you doing this? No, if it meant we could do this. Yes, okay, I probably would do. So ask questions of people where you want them to say no. It's a really good change of conversation to people because most people, you're kind of ingrained in the sales word to kind of go for the yeses. And there's the whole sort of conversation of get 20 no's and you'll get a yes at the end of it sort of thing. Well, actually, I'd rather take the 20 no's, thank you very much, and the one yes is a bad thing. That's much better figures for my business. So ask questions where you want the answer to be no. Number one. So that is number one takeaway that we want to do for our businesses straight away. So would you be against coming on the market with myself? No, I wouldn't be against coming on the market with yourself. Or if someone said, actually, yes, I would be against coming on the market with yourself. Brilliant. Okay, great. Well, let's explore that because normally when I ask that question, I say to people, would you be against coming on the market with ourselves? They all say, no, I wouldn't. And I should come on the market with me. So what's made you say that? Oh, actually, you're more expensive, or your valuation's off, or I didn't like your sales pitch. Great. Now we know what we've gone wrong in that situation. Now we know how we can overcome it. So fish for that no. So make your conversations where you can ask the question and say no. And there's a little sort of cheat sheet here. If you're struggling to phrase a question that you want to ask where the answer is no, go on everyone's best friend, ChatGPT, and say, I'm looking to ask a question about X, Y, and Z, and I want the homeowner's answer to be no to be a good thing for my business. Please phrase 10 questions in that way. It will list them all out for you. Pick your favorite one. Away you go. Thank you very much. And as a side note, on that side note, if you ever do struggle for the sales side of things and you are finding you're coming up against the same argument over and over again, ChatGPT is a fantastic sales trainer. If you say, I'm saying this and everybody else is saying this, it will say, why don't you try rephrasing it to this way? And honestly, I've tried that quite a few times and it works really, really well. So I would go on there if you're ever struggling and getting the same answer time and time again. Jump on ChatGPT. It will point you in the right direction about what you should be saying and how you should change the conversation. So we know that number one we are looking for is to get that no, and no is now a good thing for our business. The other thing is finding out and bringing to the surface what we've done right and what we've done wrong on generally a market appraisal. So let's use that as an example. So let's say we're getting towards the end of a market appraisal and we're thinking, okay, this has gone pretty well and we want to kind of get this homeowner signed up. So question for you, Mrs. Jones. Obviously, we've talked a lot today about selling your property. And if you had to rank how likely you are to go on the market with ourselves and kind of our product fit with regard to you selling your property, where do you think we sit from 1 to 10? 1 being you want to throw me out your house in 5 minutes time. 10 being, oh my goodness, Chris, let's sign up today. Where do we sit? Now, if you've done a half decent job, I would be expecting 7s, 8s, 9s. I mean, you've got a 10, they're going to sign up then and there, and that kind of answers the question. But let's say, for example, they come back and go, oh, it's a 7. I think you're a 7 with regard to kind of go on the market yourself. Brilliant. That sounds really, really good. Lots of our clients kind of talk about us being 7s before we kind of go down in any further detail. Out of interest, why are we a 7 in your eyes? And they will explain to you why you're good. And they'll go, well, you've got good marketing. You seem to be, you know the property quite well. You've sold the one around the corner. Basically, they're selling themselves to you. And you're like, great, okay, thank you very much. You're telling me how great I am as being an estate agent. This is good news. Okay, so you've now told us why we're a 7. Out of interest, why are we not a 10? And they'll go, I don't know. Either they'll go, oh, it's the price, or oh, I don't think you've got the buyers for it. But basically, what we're getting out is these issues. We're going, okay, we're a 7 today, and you've told me how great I am, the why we're a 7. Why aren't we a 10? What are our problems? We got our successes from sort of 1 to 7, let's call it, and our failures / shortcomings from 7 to 10. So great, from 1 to 7, you say, great, you're a 7 because I think you're really good. You're a nice estate agent. You turn up on time and you've sold properties around the corner. Okay, why am I not a 10? Well, I don't know if you've got enough buyers for my home. The agent around the corner said X, Y, and Z. Great. These are all the problems we can then overcome. It is so much easier to overcome objections and issues if you know what the problems are. And the 1 to 10 scale is a really good way of A, them telling you how good you are. Thank you very much. And B, then them telling you why you're not a 10. You've then got a really good opportunity just to overcome those objections and actually then securing the business off the back of it. And if you're really smart, you can involve point number 1, which is getting a no. Now we've gone through all those issues you mentioned about, price or fee or agency contract, whatever it may be. Would you be against going on the market with myself? No, I wouldn't. Okay, great. Let's jump on with it then. Let's book the photographs in for next Wednesday. So we actually involve those both pieces. So those are two clauses I use in my business today, and I try and use them as much as I possibly can do. One is getting a no whenever you possibly can do, and the second part of it is sort of rate us from sort of 1 to 10. One being, oh my God, get out my front door straight away, and 10 being like, oh my goodness, let's go on the market with you straight away. Where do we sit? As a extra sort of addition here, if you are getting below 5, let's say for example, the homeowner says to you, you're 4 out of 10, or you're 3 out of 10, or you're 2 out of 10, you've got some bigger issues there. So that will highlight where your shortcomings are on valuation straight away. Take their feedback on board from that valuation and action that as soon as possible. So hopefully when you start asking that question next time, they're like, you're a 6, you're a 7, you're an 8, makes your life a lot easier. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Would you be against giving me a 5-star rating on Spotify? Lots of you have done it already, which I haven't asked for, which is very kind of you. I think we're up to like 3, 4, 5 5-star ratings, which is absolutely amazing. So if you enjoyed today's podcast, if you could do that, that'd be absolutely amazing. It's the only thing I will ever ask you for is a quick rating on the podcast. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed today, and good luck with the closing. See you soon. Bye bye.